Alright guys, HyDra here again. I hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Interesting results in the CDL tonight. LA Thieves lock up the #1 spot, 7-0 in the qualifiers for them. It's been a very long time since a 7-0 team has actually won an event. Will they be the team to do that? But the win streak that Thieves had that was ended today puts into some context, I would say, one of the other streaks in the CDL right now on a more negative perspective. Scrappy gives some thoughts on that. Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. Lots of drama on the day starting here. Fellow Omit Brooklyn, the team that just won the Elite Champs the other day, they got forfeited from the Challengers Cup for, I don't know what these FaZe admins are doing. Effectively what seemed to have happened here is they joined up late and the admins decided that, well, the other team were like, we're down to play them, right? Like, we can play. But the admin said no, they were given enough time to arrive and they didn't appear. Apparently they got the invite, but they, like, the join notification, like, didn't hit them for some reason. They wanted to play, like, they were kind of ready to play, but the join noti for Fellow's team to join never arrived properly, so they were just kind of sitting there waiting for it. And then by the time that they kind of realized what was going on, maybe, the admins had forfeited them, despite the fact that the other team actually wanted them to play. I think this is always one of the things. At the end of the day, if you didn't join up in the allotted time, the rules are the rules. You know, it happens. Sometimes people end up playing 3v4 back in the day, and that seemed to be fine. But especially if the other team, I mean, this guy's got Scump as his profile picture. Like, if the other guy on the other team is saying, look, we're down to just play them. Just give us a second, right? Let them join up. We want to play these guys. But instead, they got the forfeit win. And apparently, even as Fellow says, the next round, it's not like they were waiting. It's not like there was some opponent already advanced that were waiting the winner of this game. So the admins were like, okay, we need to get this move in. That wasn't even the case. So, yeah, again, not really a great look from a couple of angles. Obviously, we'll get into this in a couple of seconds, but I did see some interesting tweets here from Sib. Well, actually, one interesting tweet from Sib. So there was talk about who, if OpTic are going to make a move, they actually get, right? Skies is an option because he's on a team that they could buy him out from that team, or they could get him on a free agency contract or whatever. Maybe he's a possibility. People have even talked a little bit about some of the organizations, let's say Ravens. They're doing really well, but, you know, could you go to Ravens with a big enough bag and get Gwinn? I don't know, probably not. But it's something to think about for OpTic's off-season, shall we say, in the future. Encourage is gettable, one of these challenger players. You know, people are really looking, if you're OpTic right now, you're looking for another Ghosty, aren't you, really? That's the type of player you're looking for. Is that gettable? Right now, I don't really think so, but there obviously was talk about Ghosty and his potential future. But anyway, these guys having a back and forth, and they came to the conclusion, maybe, as to whether Encourage should be picked up or not. This guy says, multiple pros can vouch for Encourage to be in the league, and Sib says, I don't think so, brother. Of course, like, Sib doesn't speak for every pro, but the point, I guess, is that the pros aren't necessarily on board with the idea that Encourage is the next step, if you want to look at it in that way. But still, difficult to call how this one's going to go. Encourage is an option, but maybe he's not the best option. That might be the argument. Now, let's talk about these series today. Starting here, Miami versus Boston was definitely a very interesting one. I didn't really know who was going to win this game one. I thought Boston had it at one time, and then Miami all of a sudden had it. Then the final rotation happens, and I still had no idea. Look, it's a Skyline hardpoint with two teams that aren't really great. It's going to be an absolute mess. Now, the game 2 equally was a big mess. Like, the round before this that Boston lost, they probably shouldn't have done. And then the round 11 that they won, they probably shouldn't have done either. Like, it was a real scrappy series, and I think that, look, I thought Boston were going to win this one. I thought that it was finally a series they'd be able to win, but watching them play, it's still very, very questionable. Like, Miami, it's true for them as well. They ended stage 2 in 5, by the way, so top 3 at the major, since they're not really gone to plan. Lots of talk, of course, about the likes of, you know, Super, maybe somebody else they could consider. Even Eric Boom, I think, has got to be a consideration. He was on their team before, but, you know, he's been kind of cooking in challenges lately in Europe. Someone they've got to keep in mind, I think, because, yeah, this didn't really go to plan. The game 1 was a mess. Rancor had a monster map. Game 2, Miami could have won. I think probably Boston deserves to win, if you want to call it that. But I don't really know if anyone deserved to win at times watching this series. The game 3, Boston did win. They won on offense to get the job done, which, I mean, you have to if you win 3-1. And then the map 4, I mean, this should have been a clean-cut win. Like, look at this. The advantage they had at one time, 203 to 112. You can't lose that. But they bottled a rotation over towards the, like, Garage Hill, and they nearly lost it. So it was very sketchy, to be honest. You look at the overall numbers, And I think you'll say, oh, okay, Boston played all right here, but given the context of the series and the fact that I don't really rate Miami, apart from Rencor being a monster, which he continues to be, and Real as well most of the time, but Rencor has certainly been their most consistent star. It wasn't, you know, like Boston really cooked something special here. And there were, again, moments from Awakening and Cammy where, you know, things didn't look ideal. Snoopy, though, had his moments, as did Purge. I mean, you know, let's not overlook the fact that on the game 3, was it? It was the game 4, the Hacienda. He went on a 10 streak, 11 streak, I think it was at the start of this game. But then he went on a bit of a death streak towards the end. But when he was on, he was seriously on. LA Thieves, though, they continued their run of victories as of late against the Minnesota Rocket. Game 1 was just another absolute masterclass 100-point club. Game 2, they slammed in the search and destroy as well. And I mean, it's remarkable to think about. They tied at this point the map win streak record in the CDL at 13 maps won in a row, which is crazy stuff. Now, that record was previously held by FaZe, and, well, they've tied it. Everyone was thinking, oh, well, you know, they've 3-0'd everyone for the last couple of weeks. They're just about to play Control, their best game mode. This is a guaranteed 3-0. They're finally going to break the record. But no, they managed to lose the Control. So, you know, it's crazy how things work, isn't it? For some reason, that particular win streak record can never seem to get broken. And, you know, some big plays right here. They were playing hide and seek, I think Scrappy said, looking for Geo in moments like this. They won 13 in a row, and then they lost. But they won the map 4 anyway. It was pretty close, actually. Minnesota played well, I thought, in that one. But at the end of the day, they still close out the stage with Scrap and HyDra being the 2 best players in the game in terms of Slayer rating, which is very scary. The fact that Scrap as well was number 1, despite the amazing stage that HyDra had, is just so impressive, right? Like, again, I feel like Scrappy's performances, you know, again, they go a little bit under the radar, I think. But, you know, that's just my opinion. Now, Thieves, they finished the stage 7-0. We saw that a bit last year. We saw Modern Warfare 3. FaZe did it twice, actually. OpTic did it once as well during stage 2. But both occasions, actually none of the time since Cold War has any team that's gone undefeated actually won an event. It happened twice in Cold War by FaZe, but ever since, I mean, it's been, what, 3-4 years now since a team has gone undefeated in the qualifiers and actually gone on to win the major. We've seen, I mean, typically the team that goes undefeated in the qualifiers tends to do rather well at the major, with some notable exceptions here. But, you know, we'll see how Thieves, of course, get on this time around. But I wanted to share this clip here from Scrap. He was asked the question by Puckett. Look, you guys are dominating, you're crushing it. 21-2 map count, unbelievably dominant stuff. Their map losses only to the Rocker on the Control, and then, of course, to the Falcons in the Search and Destroy when they played them. Everyone else they 3-0'd. But they're being overshadowed right now. This Thieves run of form is getting overshadowed by what is happening at the other end of the league. And Scrappy basically says, look, I don't really care what's going on with those OpTic cats. They win, they lose. I think he even said, we'll try our best to make it worse, right? Like, as in, keep slamming them 3-0 when they got the chance to, which they did the other day. So, you know, of course, Scrappy will adopt to some degree the Kremp mentality of, well, you know, I'm a competitor. When they're down, it's time to take advantage of the opportunity, which is what Kremp said that other teams should do. And Thieves most certainly have done with their performances over the last couple of days. But at the end of the day, Scrap says, I don't care about them, because he's probably not thinking about them, really. Going into the major, OpTic going to start and loses. Very unlikely they even play each other right now.
Scrap, can I ask you one final question? You guys are the top dogs. You're 7-0, but everyone is talking about a team that is playing for 12th. Are you annoyed to have all this OpTic talk going on in the background, distracting from your guys' success? Or is it nice to be able to just take care of business while the fans are focused on something else?
Yeah, you know, obviously OpTic not having a great stage, but you know, as a competitor, I don't care. I don't care. Let's make them even worse. You know what I mean? But as a you know, fan of the COD scene, you know, it's always good when they're doing good. But I'm sure they'll bounce back. We'll see. I don't know about this guy though.
Should Paco keep the stash or shave it before Major 2? What do you think?
No, Paco needs to keep his French aura. Come here, show him the stash, bro. Show him the stash.
No!
Yeah.
It's strong.
The stash.
It is strong. Them LA boys having fun. Congrats on a perfect run through Major 2.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. See you at the major.
This series, though, it was Ghosty with the technical takeover. He had a 1.43 in the end. It was a close 4 series, really. I mean, game 1 was very impressive, but after the game 3, like, Rocker started to show some glimpses of what we might have expected them to be. And to be fair to Estriel, again, he is an absolute shining light of this team, really. Map 3 and map 4, he was the key reason why they were in the game. Let's talk about Falcons though, because I kind of overlooked this series this morning, and to be fair, for good reason. I wasn't really expecting much, let's be honest, out of the Falcons team. But to be fair to them, they did deliver a better performance. Now, look, was it a bit of a troll from Ravens at times? Were they playing their best cards? Not in my opinion. But do you look at this series and have to have the takeaway to some degree that, you know, Falcons have improved? I think that is a conclusion you kind of have to draw, that I think Falcons have got better. Maybe not much better, but I think they have genuinely improved. And you see that here. I mean, they got 233 points. They could have won this game 1. Again, the frustrating thing watching the Falcons is that they put themselves in these positions to potentially win the game, and they always seem to find a way to bottle it somehow. That kind of happened again. They then got slammed in the search, bad, but they actually won the control. Unbelievable scenes, to be honest. Like winning an offense on the control here, round 5 on the protocol. You don't see that every day, but that's exactly what Falcons went on to do. And the game 4, they actually could have won this as well. It was really close game. I mean, it went down to the wire, and Ravens just about got the kills. Gwinn popped a 3-piece to get over the line. So a frustrating one for sure for the Falcons guys. And look, as Octane says, you guys weren't even really trying. And look, were they given their absolute 100%? Did they feel like it was going to be a win regardless of what they did? Probably. But still, the numbers don't lie that this was definitely a better performance here from the Falcons. Feel bad for Exnid and those guys because, you know, this was a good chance for them. But they end 0-7 and they end 0-26 in hardpoint record. But they did at least get another map win on the board, which is something that can't be said for another team in the CDL right now. As Clay says, you know, hurts, obviously, that loss in a way, especially because the guys, you know, improved, but maybe not quite good enough. As he says, the improvement is there. We fixed the beginning and the mid-game flows. Now we're just got to focus on the end game. So, you know, with any luck for those guys, once they get the end game sorted, they won't lose the rest of the game. I don't know. But I think you can look at this series and say, fair play to Falcons. And, well, given the context of the other green team that isn't doing so well, there was definitely a lot of talk about it. Speaking of said green team, they play this purple team tomorrow. And this purple team did a reasonably good job today against FaZe. Now, FaZe, this online stint have been, I wouldn't say questionable, like they've been good, very good potentially, but maybe not dominant as we've seen before with FaZe. But sometimes this happens online for FaZe. It's not really, wouldn't be stressing if I was a FaZe fan. But it is still notable that, I mean, Gentlemates had a really nice possibility in this game. And look at this, they're up a substantial number in this hardpoint. It eventually goes all the way down to the wire. I mean, they lost so much time on this hill, the Gentlemates guys. And, I mean, they traded. Drazah got a couple of massive moments. Drazah was instrumental in this series. If FaZe didn't have Drazah playing at this level, they would have lost this series because he was critical to winning the game 1. He made some great plays in the later maps as well in the series. And this was literally a 1v1 for the game, pretty much. Cellium eventually wins it. Lynz team kills Lunarz with a nade. That would have hurt. They lose the game 1. The game 2, I mean, Drazah made this play in the game 2, thought was really cool. So Lunarz is watching this way. Pretty common setup here from the guys that Gentlemates are running. Drazah recognises that, jumps over between the computers so Lunarz doesn't spot him. Then he can kill Lynz for free, guns Lunarz for the round as well. This was another round, like, look, Lunarz can shoot straight for sure, but this is obviously a round that you can't really lose. He's on this heady against Cellium. He probably thinks one more bullet kills him, but I guess maybe one of the shots that he hit on Cellium was slightly through this bit of stone maybe, so it didn't do as much damage as he thought. I think Lunarz didn't want to snake him really, but still a gunfight that he should have won probably didn't massively matter. But to be fair to Gentlemates, they did go on to win the control. The Hassi end the control, they won it. Kismet had a great map here. Simp had his moments, but was, you know, pretty lackluster. But in the end, it didn't really matter because on the final map of the series, everyone on FaZe really came to play, and that was game over. So, yeah, fair play. FaZe get the win, 3-1, but it was a pretty close competitive series from the Gentlemates, which is definitely a talking point because FaZe are going to be one of the absolute top seeds for the major. Gentlemates, that is not going to be true, but of course they play each other, like OpTic and Gentlemates play each other tomorrow, so that is certainly a storyline. Drazah with the 1.3 to close out the series. Very much intrigued your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.